Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Join Reiki Master and Quantum Healing expert Wes Coons as he guides listeners through the depths of self-discovery and spiritual enlightenment to uncover the version of you we haven't met yet. Hello and welcome back to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Wes, it's just me and you today.
I know, Andrea, we're all by ourselves. We've got Abby in the other room being crazy. Ty is back wherever Ty goes. And, we're just in here recording.
Yeah, and today's a special day.
It is. It's Lady Abigail Rose's first birthday today.
Happy birthday, Abby. Mm-hmm. And who else has a special day today?
Oh, somebody might have. Today may be my 55th birthday.
Yay, 55 years young.
Yeah, fucking lucky me, 55.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Ooh, yes, 55, yes. Mm-hmm. That is lucky.
Hey, I fucking look good for 55, so I'm
shockingly good looking, yes.
I like it. Some of my friends, I'm like, dude, what, you been fucking shooting up heroin or something?
I know,
I'm like,
right?
Yeah, you need to go to the gym or color that hair or something. I don't know. I ain't got to do none of that.
Oh, and you got a haircut today?
Yeah, I got a haircut. Yeah. The fun things you're doing.
Yeah, that's how you celebrate your birthday when you're 55.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no shit. Well, we got, who did we pick up? India.
India. Hello, India.
India's in the house. Thank you. I've got a lot of clients in India. Did you know that?
I know. You've told me. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I work on a lot of them doing remote healings through Zoom and stuff like that. And I have 2 or 3 families that whenever they have loved ones come from India, we schedule it and they bring them right from the airport to my healing room and I clear and cleanse them. So when they're here for a month or so, it starts out with good energy. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love my Indian clients. They're absolutely amazing.
So hello, India. We are glad to have you out there listening.
Yes, yes. And we're what? Like halfway through?
Yes, we were talking about that. So many big things have happened in season 2. Yeah.
We did. Yeah, we've had a lot of things. We've got lots of things recorded, so we're kind of figuring out how we're going to play all that together. But it's been fun. Yeah. Well, I think it might have been fun for you guys.
Yes.
It's been painful as fuck for me. So that's, there's that.
No, it's been fun for us.
Yeah. So what are we doing today?
So I think this is going to be a really fun and special episode, don't you, Wes? Like we were talking about it, and I know you guys have been hit with a lot of like, oh, big event. And Wes was like, this isn't even all of it. Like there's so many WTF moments.
Yeah. We were sitting there brainstorming and I forgot about the lady who came to try to clear the house and all these other things. So I'm making this additional list of things to talk about. So I thought today would be fun. What if we did the top 10 what the fuck moments?
Yes, I can't wait. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it 10 to 1, right? It's going to be like the Casey Kasem countdown.
That's right.
We're going to start at 10 and count down to the number 1 WTF moment in Wes's spiritual journey.
That's right. And 2 minutes before Casey Kasem does number 1, my mom always says it's time for breakfast. I'm like, I'm going to miss number 1. She said, you said that last week. I'm like, I know. And I missed number 1 last week too. They always had breakfast, Sunday breakfast at the same time. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you guys plan this? I mean, how's that even possible?
Give me 3.5 more minutes.
Yeah, right? It's like married sex.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. For some of y'all.
Not me. I don't even know why I'm saying that. I'm not even married. So.
That's right. Not me.
Not me. I don't have married sex. I'm not married. That's TMI. We'll do a TMI episode too after the WTF.
Yeah, there's a lot of TMI, I can promise you.
All right, so Wes, do you want to get into the top 10?
Yeah, we're doing the top 10.
All right, so, I don't know, we need like a drum roll.
Oh, hang on.
Okay, well that's not really a drum roll, but I like it.
Well, I've got all these buttons on this thing, so that's my weird music, and then I can do, what was this one?
Oh, right? That's what we need.
Yeah, when I'm really funny. Yeah, and there you go. Yeah, and I think do we have one more?
Oh, the clapping, the applause.
Wesley speaking. Look at that. Yes, yeah. So we're going to do number 10. You know
Yes.
what the 10th one is?
What?
Remember when I moved to the KOA?
No, I didn't know you then.
Yeah, well, in the story, yeah. So at the KOA, you have to have a parking pass to get in there. And I would come home late at night, and the guard would give me shit because I never had my fucking parking pass. Remember, I think we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
So here I am coming in at like 2:30 in the morning. I wasn't drunk or anything. I just happened to be 2:30 in the morning, pulling up, and I never had my pass because at my camper I had my Jeep and I had the Excursion. So I mean, I moved out of the house, so I had some of my things there, and well, it looked ridiculous, but I didn't fucking care. And I remember every night I would always forget the thing, and I'd pull up, and I think the guy's name was James. And I'm like, "What's up, James?" He says, "Do you have your parking pass, Wes?" I'm like, "Oh man, I forgot my parking pass." "Well, I can't let you in without the parking pass." I'm like, "James, we know each other's fucking first name, bro." I mean, he was adamant. He would not let me into that bitch. And I'm like, "Do I have to walk the 300 feet to my camper that's right there that you helped me guide my camper in 3 days ago to get my parking pass to come back?" He's like, "Well, I might have to make an exception this one time." So, and I always forgot the fucking pass. And then, I don't know, at some point we became friends, and I'd pull up because I had nothing else to do and sit and talk to him for a couple hours. But yeah, I think that was like one of the funniest moments for me. It's just, this can't be actually happening.
Yeah.
So I think the first time he did that, I'm like, let me set the stage for you. I'm secretly coming to the KOA in a convertible Maserati that's loud as fuck at 2:30 in the morning to steal somebody's shit at the campground. That's what you're saying.
Obviously.
Yes. I said, not a good cat burglar. But that was pretty funny. He ended up being a really, really nice man, and had lots of great conversations with him.
James, if you're listening, you made the top 10.
James. Yes. My number 9 moment was when Linda and I were standing in the front yard. Kathleen was doing whatever she was doing. We had poured salt around the perimeter of the house, and we had that recording. Remember, we played that recording when we were claiming the house. Something was claiming the house against us. And my number 9 WTF moment was when Archangel Michael walked through my body. I had never experienced that. And I remember as that happened, trying to process in my human brain the image that I seen with my eyes closed in my mind, as they were stepping through me, they were actually stepping through me. I couldn't understand that for the longest time. Yeah. And I don't know, it was just bizarre. And the coolest thing is I got to do that with Linda. Linda helped me see that. She helped me start to step into my gifts. So thanks, Linda. I appreciate it. It was really fun.
That's got to be surreal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just, this work is visualization and intention. And I get to see miracles all the time. It's really cool. Did I tell you about the lady I worked on long distance yesterday?
No.
Yeah. So I have a friend of mine there in Sedona, and she texted me. She said, "Hey, Wes, ever since we came into this house, I guess as an Airbnb or something," she said, "Me and my friend have a headache. Can you do something?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I cleared it real quick, and like not even a minute later, she's texting me, "Oh my gosh, our headaches are already gone. The house feels so much better." Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. So the lady, her girlfriend, texted me today, and she said, "I just want to say thank you. We feel so much better."
Aww.
And I texted her this morning that she is going to find a feather today, like a little baby bird feather, about 1.5 inches long. I said, when you find that, there's a male figure in your life that has crossed over, and he wants you to know that you're beautiful, that you're loved, that you're finding, you're on your path, and some other personal things I'm not going to share. But about 3 hours later, she sends me the picture of exactly how I seen it in my mind. of a little feather somewhere in the middle of the desert. How many feathers do you find in the desert? I mean,
not many.
I don't think there would be a lot. I don't think there's a lot of birds flying around there. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, when I was every time I go to the desert, I don't see nothing but a fucking lizard every once in a while.
Snakes.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah. So what number? 8?
Now we're at number 8 on the top 10 WTF countdown.
The fog in the house. The fog in the house was bad. We're going to do a top 5. Then I'm like, well, we could do a top 10. Then I was thinking we could do a top 72. So the fog in the house, I think that was the first moment that I was truly terrified for the first time in my life. You know, where you're in a circumstance that you can't control any of it, and you couldn't make sense of any of it. And I remember being in my bedroom, taking this rope I had, I don't know, it was some string or something, and tying the doorknobs together to keep something out with my 45 in my back pocket. I'm like, why? Yeah. Doesn't even make sense. You know, that you have a weapon of that caliber that can stop anything just about, or at least a human. And you're taking this string and tying the door and then seeing these shadows going underneath the door and looking at the security camera that is literally 10 feet on the other side of the door and there's nothing there, and hearing something walking down the hallway. That was life altering for me. I just remember looking down and my hands were physically shaking, and I've never experienced that before. It was just shaking from fear, that is. And not that I'm, you laughing at me. Yeah.
Shaking from other things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're shaking from fucking being old, but
not from fear.
Not from fear. And not that I'm Superman or something. I've just never experienced that. Of course I've been scared. I've been scared in combat, and you know, you get scared to get married or you know, you have those things, but this is something that you just can't control. Yeah. I'll never forget that day. I'll fucking never forget that shit. And then when I decided to go through the fog to go downstairs and turn off that light, you know, I didn't know if I was coming back. Now I remember petting Kennedy. I'm like, I wasn't going to take her through that. Yeah. And I remember just petting her, just thinking to myself, you know, I don't know if I'm coming back, because whatever was on the other side of that door, whatever that was walking up and down the hallway, it was so big that the entire upstairs shook. I mean, later I tried to jump up and down and pounce in the hallway and bounce in the hallway, and I could not make the floor vibrate the way that vibrated. Yeah. You know, a 225-pound man jumping up and down should shake it, but that shook the entire upstairs. It had to have been 500 pounds. And then it kicked the door, and the only thing that kept the door from staying closed was that string. I tell you what, man, that shit'll wake you the fuck up.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Yeah. You know, I think I was reaching for my weapon. I'm like, I'm going to go kick your ass, and it kicks the door. I'm like, well, I'm going to wait a few minutes on that. So, yeah, that was not fun.
No, that sounds frightening.
Yeah.
All right, what are we at? 7?
7?
7.
Uh-huh. Madagascar lady.
Ooh.
You have no comprehension of how many hours I spent on the phone Googling, reading articles, calling people. Hi, this might sound a little bizarre, but I'm calling from Virginia Beach, and I've got this really, really haunted house, blah, 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 blah. You know, about 20% of the time I got hung up on. And I'm like, I am calling you because of an article or something you wrote, right? So
we didn't think people would actually respond to this.
Yeah, I'm not calling the fucking Ronald McDonald House here. And calling and talking to these people and the desperation and getting told no and not to call back. Then I talked to this lady. I offered her $10,000 to come from New York City to the house.
Wow.
I said, I'll give you $10,000 cash. I'll pay for your airplane. Oh, I'm starting a job this week. I can't. And I'm like, seriously?
I'd push a job back a week for $10,000.
She had to come in Friday and leave Saturday or whatever, come in for the weekend. So it was interesting talking to her because she was talking about her lineage and how her grandmother and her grandmother's grandmother and stuff, how they've had these gifts, that she understood at a deep level what was going on. And she's the one that told us not to do any more work because it made it more powerful. I still haven't figured that out.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a lot. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that I just find that so bizarre. And I don't know where to look for the answer of that. So if you're listening and you know the answer, if you're the lady from Madagascar who doesn't want to help me, and then she's like, oh, you're too fucking stupid to know. I'm like, thanks. Makes me feel good. But that was, that was bizarre, but it was also a glimmer of hope. You know, it's the first time somebody said, yeah, I could do something. And I don't remember exactly in the timeline where that was, but it was definitely before, well, it was in June.
I look short now, don't I?
You're a dumbass. So that was June because we did the big 4th of July house clearing thing and helped all the slaves. Helped all the slaves go home. You're fucking... Oh, you took your shoes off. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, what did you think I did?
She's over there looking so short, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? She took her heels off. I'm like, you look fucking creepy that short. You know, all I can see is her beady eyes staring at me.
Now I look like Wilson from Home Improvement.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so different down here.
I know. Yeah. I often wonder what short people look like when they see things.
Is this what it's like?
So yeah, the Madagascar lady was interesting, and so I don't know. I would really, God, I can't even remember how I found her. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It was cool. I wonder if Karen connected me. Maybe.
We'll ask her.
Yeah, I'll ask Karen. So what are we on? 6?
6. Number 6.
Dude. You want to see something fucked up?
Yes.
Stand in 7-Eleven, have the homeless guy in front of you who has this hump on his shoulder, go from, the hump literally went from his right shoulder to his left and back. That freaked me out.
That's creepy.
Oh, yeah. And I just remember, it shocked me at such a high level because I don't think I'd seen anything yet like that. And I looked and it did it again. And when he looked at me and turned away, there was a demonic face staring at me. I'm like, God. I had not seen those things before. And so we're at the 7-Eleven, and this guy, he just keeps like getting in front of me. I'm like, dude, can I get a fucking burrito? He's standing in front of the burritos, right? I think it's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm starving. And so he goes to check out and ain't got no money. He's got all this shit on the table. So finally I was like, I'll pay for it. So I bought all that food. Then he kept wanting to shake my hand and stuff. And you know, one of the things I learned, we've talked about this, at least at that time, I was so open. If somebody touched me and had something, I could see my skin start turning black, and it was like worms crawling through my skin as whatever was there was coming into my body. It was so fucking gross. It was so painful. And this cat wanted to touch me. And I'm like, finally, I was like, dude, don't touch me, but you're welcome. And as I went out in the parking lot, it was really bizarre because he was just standing out there with this weird look on his face, fucking staring at me. In the store, he's very personable. He's a nice man. It's irrelevant that he's homeless, but he just happened to have something in him. But in the parking lot, it was kind of like that Children of the Corn. You ever seen that creepy movie?
Yes.
How they just stare at you? That was so bizarre. And then I was down at the beach. It was like, here's a 7-Eleven on like 26 and Pacific or something down at the beach. And as I walked in, there's 3 or 4 homeless people there, and I ordered them a pizza and got them. I think I got them a 12-pack of beer. I'm like, fuck it, man. If you're sitting on the curb, I'm going to give you something. So I bought them dinner and gave them that. And the lady with them jumped up and started acting really, really creepy. She's like, oh, I need to touch you. I need to touch you. I need to touch you. I need to hug you. And I'm like, no. we're good. And as she looked back at one of the men who said something, you could see something staring at me, and she looked back and it went like back inside of her face. And then she wanted to touch the Jeep. I'm like, don't touch the Jeep. Please don't.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not disrespecting you, but I'm like, don't fucking touch my shit, because she wanted to touch something. The demon wanted to put something there.
Yeah.
And so that was the point where about that happened in the same week. So that was the point where I just stopped getting near anybody that I didn't know. It was fucking bizarre. And Kennedy would see them, you know, you come down the, what do you call it? The off ramp at the beach, Bird Neck right there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there's a gentleman there asking for donations. And Kennedy would see him, and she would go batshit nuts. I mean, the Jeep's going back and forth. And if y'all, those of you that know Kennedy, she was a 65-pound German Shepherd, but she's very docile unless I was in danger. And I remember her just going off on these people. And when they'd look away, the demon would stare at me, and then he would look back. And one time I remember just whispering, and he was at least 100 feet away. I remember saying, "I see you." And all of a sudden the guy looked away instantly, like he was scared. And the demon just leaned forward and glared at me. I'm like, okay.
Creepy.
There's that.
But that's only number 6.
It is only number 6. So number 5, gosh, that was a hard one to pick. Number 5 was when we started the podcast, The Darkest Day. I don't remember. That was The Darkest Day. What was the name of the episode 1? Live for Another Day or something like that?
Survive One More Day.
Survive One More Day? It's like a James Bond fucking movie right there, the name of that.
Yeah.
Just saying, I will work for the James Bond series if they need me to come in and be a superstar. Laying in that bed, watching things coming through the mirrors, coming through the TV, coming through the wall, and Kennedy looking at them and looking at me and trying to, you know, she was protecting me. She wanted me to go somewhere, and there was just nowhere to go because they could follow us. I just remember how, at that point, I had been through so much. It affected me, but not like you would think.
Yeah.
It was, I didn't care. There was nowhere for me to go. So I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and let you do what you're doing. And I had towels over the cabinet doors because all the cabinets had mirrors in them. You know, and in the camper, there's lots of little mirrors and stuff. So all that was covered. And I think it was the next day, and I've showed you this picture, I was in the front cabin and I knew something was there. So I took a picture of the turned off TV, you know, the reflection that was there.
Yeah.
And when you looked at the picture, there was this skeleton standing next to me. You've seen that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was like a 5'6" skeleton. And I remember I was looking at that, and I had holy water in a bottle, and I just grabbed it and spritzed it right where its face was. I'm like, fuck you. And just walked back to my bedroom. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You can't kill me. You can't, well, they're already touching me. And that was just normal at that point.
Yeah, you and your holy water.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, there's holy water right behind you on that shelf.
I know.
And a fucking spritzer, man.
In case of emergency.
Yeah. We had people in my house a few weeks ago doing some work, and I was walking through this bitch with holy water afterwards, spritzing behind them. I'm like, man, y'all take your shit with you.
Yeah.
You know, you never know what comes with people when you invite them in your home.
Luckily, I don't have any friends, so no one comes in my home.
Yeah. If I'm lucky, nobody comes to my home. So where do we, is that 4 or 5?
Now we're not down to number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4, WTF Moments by Wesley Cooper.
Number 4, we haven't talked about yet on the podcast. So that was when the priest and the elders from the church came to the house. I don't know. There was like 6 or 7 of them, I feel like. I've got pictures I could count. And you got to figure, we're at this house. It's on an acre lot. It's got a big 2-story home and a custom pool area with a screened-in gazebo, the rock water waterfall. It's beautiful. The backyard was really done well. It's a beautiful home. And so we're standing there, and all these people are circled around me. And the priest starts talking. I don't remember what he said, but he was saying some things, doing some prayers, and he kept asking about the swimming pool. He said that something happened in the swimming pool. Somebody died, some version of that. And I think when I bought the house, and the swimming pool had some problems. So typical Wes, I buy a house with a swimming pool so I don't have to buy a swimming pool. Then I replace the fucking swimming pool. And when we did that, we moved it over a couple feet for some reason. I don't remember why, but we had to move it a little bit. And they believe we opened up, we basically disrupted something in the ground. Something that was there previously, but this like woke it up. So I remember the priest kept talking about that. But the moment that he took holy water and splashed it and it hit the left side of my face and arm, and I remember it burning like acid on my skin. So the WTF moment was the look on the priest's face when he seen the reaction of the holy water hitting me. And I remember sobbing in front of him because it hurt so bad. And I kept saying, Father, I don't know what's happening. And my left arm is like going crazy. I'm grinding my teeth. I'm twitching my head back and forth, kind of like in the exorcism, what Ty was describing. And I remember not being able to be in control of that. And that really, really scared me. And the look on his face, because I was thinking, this guy does this. He's been trained in this stuff. And the expression on his face, that scared me.
Did he look scared?
Oh, yeah. He was fucking shocked.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude.
He was like, I didn't bring enough holy water.
Yeah. Something. I'm thinking to myself, I do have the right priest, right? I mean, you teach this shit. And, but there was a couple times he had that look on his face. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why when I was coming to him with those things where he didn't just like jump on it. I worked my ass off to get this church at the house. I mean, this took a couple months. This took numerous phone calls, numerous emails, numerous voicemails, and to the point where I was just like, what do I have to do to get you guys to pay attention to me? It really got to that level. And I don't understand why. Now, somebody, I think at Standard Grace, said that, remember, we had emails that disappeared. We had text messages disappear. We had voicemails disappear to all these different spiritual people that swore they never got it. And I find it hard to believe they're going to lie to me. And Standard Grace felt that that was part of the darkness, either blocking him to see what was happening. There was some third-party individual entity disrupting that. Yeah. And I believe that's 100% true. How can you explain emails missing, text messages missing, voicemail missing? And I'm talking, hey, I messaged you 7 fucking times. Oh, I never got none of them. How's that even possible? Yeah. I don't think a Buddhist monk is going to lie to me about that. He didn't even know why I was calling. Right. So there's that. That was fun.
That was your number 4 WTF.
That was number 4. And I told Andrea when I was going through my notes before we started the podcast, I said, if you look at all the stuff we have here, if just one of these things happened to me, I would never forget it. Yeah. That would be a talking point for the rest of my life. And we've got pages and pages and pages and pages. And we're over 50 episodes in this with the behind the scenes and everything. And we probably still have a season and a half to go. Yeah.
So don't go anywhere.
So don't go anywhere.
There's lots to come.
Same bat channel, same bat place. So what do you think number 3 would be?
When the bear got the demon in it and got killed. Is that number 3?
No, that's number 3, but that's cool. I love that. Hey, I love that damn cow or whatever. He's
Pascal.
like, yeah, Pascal's like, hey, I'll take the demon. We aired that, right?
Yeah.
So they've got that already.
Wait,
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Hey,
If not, surprise.
If not, there's gonna be a surprise where the damn. No, because that's
that's a
it's
number.
not.
We
That's
have
the
not aired
rebirthing
it.
ceremony.
We
So
have
I'm
not
not going to
aired
tell
it.
you that. I'm not going to tell you any of that. You're gonna have.
It's so good, guys. It's so good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to just wait, everybody, on that one. But just say Pascal is fucking smart.
Badass.
Yeah, even though he's in the freezer right now. So, and Pascal is actually a cow. So, you'll hear that in a later episode.
Yes.
Now, the number 3 one was after we did that 4th of July ceremony and helped all those slaves go home. Remember, we were on the dock, we were doing that, and this isn't the moment, but the guy that comes down with all his gear on, this Barney Fife looking dude going doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo type personality, getting in this fucking kayak and pushing himself through the mud and leaving lines in the mud from where he was at, even speaking to us, then seconds later disappearing, and it wasn't a real person. That was freaking nuts. And I remember Sandra Grace, and she just looked at me with this smile on her face, said, the darkness will prevent us from doing our work, or something of that nature. I never asked her, but she had to have known he wasn't real. And he looked like you do right now. Maybe you're not real. Maybe you're not real. I don't think you're real.
I'm so out of this world. It's hard to believe I'm real.
That ain't a fucking stretch. Yeah, but that was just so bizarre. But we did that ceremony, and then I had to convince the demons that I was one of them, and Scott Funk came down and threw the rag in my face. I'm like, you motherfucker. And then all those people go through my body. None of that was the WTF moment. The WTF moment was that night when I was standing there looking at the security camera, and you could see the face in the tree line, because right behind the pool was this really dense tree line. But you can see this face of this African warrior with his mouth open, like he's screaming at the top of his lungs. And his fucking head was like 10 foot tall. This wasn't little. Actually, I came across a photo of it not too long ago. And there was a bear in there. There was like a lion or something. And that guy's face. And the detail of the face. You can see the pores in his skin. I mean, it was that detailed. And I remember how bad that scared me, because it had never been there before. And the man on the phone said they left somebody behind to make sure I didn't screw them over, because he was there to get me if I did. And I don't know at what point he went away. Maybe when it was all fixed, he was gone. But I feel like he kind of disappeared after about a month or so. So that was really bizarre. And you would look at the security cameras, and all the trees on my property, you can see the bushes shaking back and forth. And the trees that were like 6 inches past my property, the trees were perfectly still.
Weird.
Yeah, they stayed in, that energy stayed inside the property line. And I had like 6 or 8 chickens there, and finally I gave the chickens away. And Sandra Grace never told me what she had to do. She just politely said I had to do some work on the chickens so they would be okay. Mm-hmm. So, they were disrupted or whatever at some level, but she would not tell me what that was.
Interesting.
And I don't think it was making KFC out of them. No.
Poor little chickens.
Yeah. Hey, I went to great lengths to take those chickens to the fucking Eastern Shore, give it to these 2 ladies. Yeah. And I find out like 10 days later, she gave them to some farmer. I'm like, God damn. But I think the farmer, it was this farmette, and they had little kids. And so they got to live their happy little life.
Oh,
Yeah. Did I tell you about Sasha, my chicken Sasha?
no.
Sasha. Sasha was the smartest chicken. She was beautiful. She had this golden color to her. And I forget what the Guinness Book of World Records was at the time, but I think the oldest chicken in the world at that time was like 13.
Oh, wow.
And she died at like 12 years and 7 months. I'm like,
wow.
no, Sasha, we're going to be famous.
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. I love that chicken.
Sasha Fierce.
She was, man. She would get in the coop early. She got the best spot. And there was like little gaps in the chicken coop. So with the fan on that, I had a fan in there for him. And you know, it would circle the air through, and Sasha knew if she sat in this one particular spot, she'd have like air conditioning. She was funny. She'd be turning her head around, look like a movie star with her feathers kicking back. And I love that bird.
Aww.
I love that bird. She watched all of her friends and family get murdered throughout the years.
Oh my God, Wes.
She did. She did.
You're like smiling about it.
Hey, I had 47 chickens, 3 peacocks, 4 goats, 4 or 5 dogs, 6 or 7 cats, turkeys. I had all kinds of shit. And when I separated, eventually something got in the chicken coop and blah, blah, blah. Some of them got killed, and just life happens. And my ex-wife calls me up one day. She says, Sasha's alive still. I'm like, do you want her? So I went out and got Sasha. And at that time I lived in Norfolk. I'll never fucking live in Norfolk again. But I was like 3 feet from the line, but I was still in Norfolk. And
No offense to anyone that lives in Norfolk.
oh, I don't fucking care. No, Norfolk's cool. It's just not for me. And, you know, everything I do is this way. So I had chickens, and Norfolk was cool because you can have chickens. Virginia Beach, you can't have anything fun. So if it has FUN in it in Virginia Beach, the city says, fuck no, you can't do it. But I had chickens, so Sasha came. She outlived all those chickens.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
She was amazing.
I cried when she died. Yeah, it was like a dog.
Poor
So,
Sasha.
are we on number 10?
2.
No, number 1?
2. I thought we were on
number
2.
2.
Yeah, it's number 2.
Andrew, you gotta
Come on, keep it together.
keep me straight here.
God.
Golly. So we're on number 3, right?
2. 2.
Okay. So number 2, WF moment.
WTF.
WTF, what'd I say?
WF. WWE. WWF.
Yeah. Ty was here recording last week, and he was telling the story, and I don't know if you guys have gotten this part yet, but at one point there was faces inside my body pushing out. So imagine taking some saran wrap and pushing your face to it. That's what it looked like. And all that was bruised. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, that's creepy.
I had, when he told me that, I just remember, yeah, I mean, it took me instantly back to how isolated I was, and how much pain I was in. And my body was just so messed up. Just, I would lift my shirt and you could take a picture and you would see faces all over the place. And, you know, I wake up in the morning with scratches down my chest and across my back, and I don't know how they got there. And they're like big scratches, like a fucking bear claw scratch. And, you know, just everything itching all the time. Then parts of my body was ripped and torn. Wasn't sleeping and wasn't eating. I think, I don't know, I probably lost like 30 pounds. I looked bad. I didn't look good at all. And I had forgotten about the faces pushing through my skin like that. That, you know, that just really, really messed with me a lot. And I didn't tell very many people about that. And none of my family knew, and my daughter definitely didn't know. But I felt like by that time, every day I was dying. I felt like every day I was closer to death. And not understanding when it's going to end, what it's going to look like. Trying to get the courage to take my own life. And at the same time, telling myself, 15 more minutes. We can wait 15 more minutes. We'll do it in 15 minutes, and we'll do it again in 15 minutes. We'll wait 15 more minutes, and I'll wait an hour. I'll do that in an hour. Then I'll do it tomorrow because I'm going to go to sleep, so I can do it tomorrow. Then I'd wake up, and I'm like, well, I'll do it after breakfast, and then I'll do it after lunch. Convincing myself not to, giving myself little bits of time that I knew I could manage getting through, and waiting for that September 5th to come. It's June and July. September is a long fucking way away. So yeah, that was number 2. But the number 1.
Okay, what's the number 1 WTF moment?
The number 1 was being in that hotel room on July 4th weekend. Remember, we had done that big ceremony at the house, and I went down to the Outer Banks to spend time with my family. I was supposed to have been there 3 days. Kennedy was staying with a friend. A lady who worked for me was watching her. She was such a sweetheart. She would always take care of Kennedy. Then she got this little fucking chihuahua, right? And as Kennedy would lay in her bed and the lady would turn her back, the chihuahua would run over and bite Kennedy's 67-pound German Shepherd ass, make her yipe, and by the time the lady looked back, the chihuahua was back in her bed pretending nothing happened. So Kennedy couldn't stay there anymore after this weekend because the little chihuahua was fucking her up. I'm like, damn it. But she was there, and I went to sleep, and I had sleep paralysis. Yeah, I've had sleep paralysis a lot in my life. And there's nothing more terrifying than, if you don't know what that is you're basically awake, but you're paralyzed. I don't remember if I could open my eyes or not, but you're awake, you're paralyzed, and you're trying to speak, you're trying to wake up, you're trying to move. And I remember so many times you'd be trying to speak and make noise. And at the time, years ago, I was married, so trying to wake my now ex-wife up or whatever, and hoping somebody would hear me, and then eventually being able to move back and forth a little bit until you wake up. And if you're experiencing that, one of the things that really shifted for me was my sister Debbie told me one day, she says, just ask your angels, wrap me and protect me with your golden light. And I started saying that before I went to bed, and the sleep paralysis stopped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I hadn't had it for years, but that night I had it. And for whatever reason, I remember thinking in my mind, I said, Jesus Christ. And the second I thought that thought, it stopped. I was instantly free. And I opened my mouth and gasped. And when I did, something crawled down my throat. And it wasn't little. I remember I couldn't close my mouth. I mean, think about how somebody put their fists inside your mouth or whatever. You're not closing your mouth. And feeling it stretching my throat and going down into my chest, and hearing the bones pop and crack as it's pushing my ribs around and moving organs. And I could see underneath my shirt, my skin moving underneath there as something was pushing and making a nest. I've never been so alone in my life. And I felt alone almost my entire life, even with a room full of people. But that night, I mean, I just remember fucking crying. And for me to beg for God, dude, This was before I met the priest. This is before I did some other things that started to show me that was real. But I just remember laying there begging and crying for somebody to come help me, and just balled up in a ball and fucking sobbing because it hurt so bad. I'm like, how do you fix that? Hey, something crawled down my throat. Can somebody help me? I mean, I couldn't get fucking anybody to do shit.
Yeah.
And this crawls down your throat? I mean, I don't even know how that's possible. But also that night, they gave me hope, remember?
Yeah.
Those giant Tic Tac looking things that came floating down from the ceiling. I still don't know what that was. It didn't save me. It didn't fix things. It didn't pull it out. It didn't make the crawlies go away. It didn't fix my life. It didn't make me feel better. It didn't make me learn how life happens for me. It didn't teach me that I am in dominion of everything and that my words were powerful, and the bullshit that I'm calling in is the negative thoughts that I have, the negative words that I say, and all the other fucking bullshit. It didn't teach me any of that. But what it did teach me is there's something there that wasn't the darkness, that wasn't a demon, that wasn't trying to fucking get me. And it gave me hope. And I just fell asleep like a fucking 1-month-old baby. The pain just kind of went away and I fell asleep. And I remember waking up in the morning and just laying there like I was the only person on the planet. Could nobody help me. I had nowhere to go. So I went to breakfast, as one does. And I just moved forward and took a step, then took a step, then took another step. And remember when I got down off the elevator, I stepped into the lobby and they had this beautiful Indian family getting married. Remember that? Yeah. And the energy was so freaking powerful. I could taste their culture. I could taste the curry. I mean, it was like literally walking through a 10-foot deep pudding, and nobody's seen me. Not one person looked at me going through there. It was extraordinary. It was cool. It was like, holy fucking shit. I don't know. It wasn't painful. I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I smelled like curry the rest of the fucking day, man. And I was hungry. I'm like, where's the buffet at? I mean, it's like 8 o'clock in the fucking morning. And, but I'll never forget how beautiful their culture. I mean, I feel like I lived in their culture as I went through there. The just, you know, the love in the room, the beautiful dress, the attire, the gold. I mean, every woman was even more beautiful than the next with the outfit they had on. And the bride came around the corner and she was just, you know, your wedding day is just magic. And they were having this magical moment and I was in the middle of it. And it was really, really fucking cool. And so I don't know. I don't know what all that was. But that day, even though it was on this top 10, I had been through so much at that point. It was just like, all right, what are we going to do?
What else you got?
You know what? Ghostbusters.com does not exist. Just saying. Or if it does, it doesn't give you what you want. There was no healer Wes Coons out there that you could find. Sandra Grace hadn't been able to do anything yet. And the funny thing is, I don't even remember. You would think that I would go to my car and call Sandra and say, hey, this just happened. But yeah. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I told her about it. There's so many things that I blocked out, like the faces pushing through my skin. I didn't remember that. And I'm sure there's some other things that were really bad I don't remember. So that is the top 10. What the fuck?
Oh, WTF.
WTF.
And the funny thing is, we were like, this will be a nice, lighthearted episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah. Ain't none of this gonna be lighthearted, dude. I mean, look what all we had to go through. Me, myself, and I, and all my 10 personalities. That's who we is. And but we've got lots of cool things still coming up on the show. I hope you enjoyed this. My buddy Nate and I are gonna go soon and record for November 10th Marine Corps birthday at fucking Chesty Puller's house. Nate, I'm looking forward to that, brother. If you don't know who Chesty Puller is, Google him. He is the most decorated United States Marine in history. And we're going to do a special episode on his property in his house dedicated to our brothers and sisters that have fallen before us, that stand on the gates that protect this country and stand at the gates of heaven and protect heaven. Because if you listen to our Marine Corps hymn, we sing about that, and that's who we are.
Nice.
So it'd be cool. Plus, my Uncle Robert received the Medal of Honor in Vietnam, so we're going to talk about that. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Yeah. And we may acknowledge the other services that are support for the United States Marine Corps, just saying.
Maybe.
You know, like the Navy, the Army, everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Yeah. So we appreciate you supporting us. Thank you. So I think that's it for the show.
That's it.
Andrea, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
On my birthday.
Yes, on your birthday.
Yes. So thanks, everybody, and we will see you real soon.
See you next time. You've been listening to Enlightenment Unknown with Wes Coons, your guide on the quest for self-discovery and the version of you we haven't met yet.